Good evening from Raleigh, North Carolina on this Sunday, January the 14th, 2018, just about 1 minute after 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And remember to make all decisions and preparations based on official National Weather Service forecast products, and that this video reflects only my thoughts on this potential for winter weather. And it seems like that's been the trend. We have a weekly chance of some kind of winter precipitation ever since the turnover of the new year, and that trend will continue with this potential light snow or light rain snow event on midweek. So this would be late Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning, maybe into Wednesday morning, mid-morning on Wednesday, depending on the speed of the system, which is one thing that models are having a tough time resolving, which is a critical problem that they can't resolve, which will probably end up determining if this, ends up dropping an inch or so or inch or two of snow across north central North Carolina. If you live south of US 64, US Highway 64, or south of US Interstate 40, I think this is not going to be a big of deal for you. It's not, I will open up this video by saying it's not really that impressive of a signal altogether. It's not looking like, it looks like a lot of ingredients are going to have to come together at once to really, really make this thing blossom. And if it blossoms, it might dump about an inch or two of snow. Otherwise, it's going to be a very low impact event. The only caveat to that is that ground temperatures and soil temperatures are going to be cold enough that anything that does fall is still going to stick, which could cause road problems. And so that's that first criteria of the four main criteria that we need here in North Carolina or anywhere for winter weather are cold temperatures at the surface, cold soil temperatures, cold temperatures aloft, and moisture. And we'll start off here with our cold temperatures. And you can see, regardless of if any winter precipitation falls, we're still going to stay cold. These are probability charts. It's called a box and whisker plot. And the taller that box and the whiskers are, or the outliers, that's showing more uncertainty. So you have more uncertainty out about 2 weeks out, and then we have much smaller ranges here because we're pretty certain of what we're pretty sure of what the temperature is going to be in the next 3 or so days. But outside of 3 days, it gets these charts get a little wonky because you're not entirely sure what's going to happen. That's just the nature of the atmosphere. It's chaotic, and you can't predict it efficiently more than about 3 to 4, 5 days out. So overall here, these are showing the probabilities. This blue line is a freezing line. These are high temperatures and low temperatures. All of this is for Raleigh-Durham International Airport, so a little bit northwest of Raleigh, kind of looking at the triangle area here, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. And you can see here also, this is kind of summarized in this chart here. This row is high temperatures, this row is low temperatures. You're saying lows are staying, well below freezing. That's pretty normal for this time of year, but what's not normal is having these high temperatures in the 30s. So this won't be a prolonged period of cold like the record length cold we had about a week ago, or about 2 weeks ago, I guess now. But it is still looking to be very cold, and our warmest day being Tuesday, and maybe not even breaking the 50s again until next Saturday. Our average temperature, or normal temperature for this time of year at the Raleigh-Durham Airport, is about 51 degrees. So we're well below that. And today was cold. Tomorrow we'll continue that trend in the upper 30s, and then Tuesday breaking probably the mid 40s. And these two temperatures are crucial here to determining what, if any, and to what magnitude we get any of that winter precipitation or a changeover from rain to snow. So it's going to be important to see how quickly things cool down on Wednesday morning or late overnight Tuesday to determine if we get any snow. So that is our temperature outlook, and then soil temperatures here. Not a lot of stations up here that are going to measure soil temperature, but you kind of get a general idea, 34, 36, the kind of averaging kind of in the upper 30s, maybe the mid 30s up here. Over here, we're not worried about that right now. We're not worried about the probably south of, this line here of US 64, which is right about here. If you're anywhere below that line, I guess I can draw this instead of just talking about it. Anywhere, below this line or so, probably not going to be that big of an event for you. And this is a very roughly drawn line right now, just from what models are showing right now and what the guidance is showing. It's not looking that impressive of an event anyway, but I would be highly surprised if anyone below this line, I might need to redraw this line with some more accuracy on a later video, but I would be very surprised if anyone below this line saw, accumulating snow on Wednesday. So that's kind of a synopsis there. Overall, temperatures are cold enough for things for winter weather to any accumulating snow. I need to get my words straightened out. It's still cold enough at the surface for any precipitation that falls will probably stick to roads. A little warm in here might have a little more of a hard time accumulating if the precipitation is even intense enough. But up here in the Triad is a particularly tricky area because not a lot of monitoring here, so we're not entirely sure what this temperature is here, but if you kind of extrapolate this, you can see that it's probably still going to be cold enough for anything that falls to stick quickly, and that could cause issues with roads on Wednesday morning. So that's something to watch out for. So that's why we're paying special attention to this, because even though it's not, 5 or 6 inches of snow or a high impact winter storm, with temperatures being as cold as they have been and continuing to be cold, as we showed on well, that's not what I was looking for. Well, I can't click that. I can't go back to where I just was, but that chart was showing our temperatures, staying cold. That staying cold, that's why this is kind of of particular interest, because it could cause some road troubles on Wednesday morning. So kind of moving on now, this is a look at the National Weather Service in Raleigh. It's looking at their area forecast discussion. And down here, this is the short-term synopsis, Tuesday through Thursday night. And what I want to highlight here is basically they're kind of giving the synopsis of what's happening here. They're saying model runs are having a hard time determining how much precipitation is going to come through. Is it going to be dry, or is it going to be more wet? Things are kind of averaging, or the maximum right now is about 0.2 of inches of liquid equivalent. Now, you may have heard of snow ratios, so very basically extrapolating that could mean that maybe a maximum of 2 inches under optimum conditions. 0.2 inches of liquid equivalent, if you multiply that by 10 for a 10-to-1 snow ratio, that means that the European model is maintaining a solution of maybe up to about 2 inches of snow under the most perfect conditions. So that's kind of the ceiling that we're looking at here. It's a pretty low ceiling event where it's not going to be super high impact, kind of an event where you can really refine your forecast skills and focus on who's going to get what. So that's what that's saying. But what I want you to particularly notice is this, where it says, as previous forecast discussions have noted, one model pitfall and potential forecast concern is that numerical weather prediction models tend to advect low-level cold air east of the mountains too quickly, which in itself can be a self-limiting process, and on and on and on. So what that's saying is, I can draw a little picture here to kind of to show what I'm saying. So here's the Appalachian Mountains, and then it kind of goes down, and we have the Piedmont, and then we have the coastal plain, and then you're at the beach. I'd love to be at the beach right now. That'd be a lot warmer, but that's beside the point. So what this is kind of saying is that cold air has a really hard time getting above the mountains here. It has to lift up over the mountains, and then it has to come back down and filter into the Piedmont. And what that's saying is that numerical weather prediction models tend to advect low-level cold air east of the mountains too quickly. The advecting means that it's the transport of a property through flow in the atmosphere. So that's the transport of colder temperatures through wind. So models tend to do this too quickly and want to bring and filter air into the Piedmont too quickly. And that's a common error that models won't do. They want to do that too quickly. And the result of that is that it shows all the rain or precipitation or the moisture that's there falls as snow. Well, this is not a very efficient transport of cold air. And usually our cold air is going to come actually from the northern part of this state, not from Virginia, something we call a backdoor cold front. You may have heard that term before. And I'll draw this again on the map, but if you imagine my cursor now going into the computer screen and going up north around the mountains and back down into North Carolina, that's kind of how you get your efficient cold air transport, where you get your blockbuster events. But anytime you have cold air coming over the mountains, that cold air has to chase the moisture, and a lot of times it doesn't pan out exactly like it is forecast. So I'll replicate that image on another chart here in a second to illustrate my point. But what that's showing is that it's probably going to be a pretty tough event to get a lot of snow. This might even end up as a light rain event if that cold air does not get here in time. So here, I'm actually going to skip that chart for now. So it looks like the 0Z NAM, the latest run of the NAM, the North American Mesoscale model, has finished now. And to kind of give a future cast, this is a cold front here. And if you don't believe me, I will turn on the temperatures here, and you can clearly see that this is a cold front, the leading edge of the colder air here. Right here is our cold front, and that's going to advance forward in time. And then here's the mountains. It has to advance over the Appalachian Mountains here in order to filter into central North Carolina. This is what it's saying. Models are having a hard time and want to put this into central North Carolina too quickly. It has, the triad falling below freezing at 12Z, so that's about 7 or 8 a.m. And that would be when the moisture would be present here. So what the NWS forecast discussion was suggesting is that maybe the model's bringing the cold air too quick in, and that would result in a mostly rain event. And if you want your efficient cold air transport, so remember the air is coming this way. This is getting kind of messy, but you get my point. if you want an efficient, cold air, when we get our blockbuster storms in North Carolina here, that's when we kind of have cold air up here that spills down and comes around the mountains, because the mountains here are really hard to, get over. This goes up into Pennsylvania, but when you have cold air coming around into central North Carolina and the cold air is already in place, that's when you get your bigger storms. That's not going to be the case with this one, and it's looking like it's going to be really tough to get that cold air in a place in time. So going back here, kind of a future cast, you can see that, don't pay too much attention to where exactly the snow is falling, but it's showing, it breaks over the mountains and the moisture is present. You can almost kind of see a little edge of green around this, and that's probably indicating this would be a rain-snow mix. Certainly not a ton amount of moisture that would be present to work with, and then it kind of dwindles down as it goes over here. So this particular solution has, anywhere in North Carolina could pick up a little bit of, dusting of snow or something like that. But that's going to be the trend to watch over the coming days, as to how, how the magnitude of this, how strong is it going to be when it actually, crosses over the mountains and comes into central North Carolina, determining kind of what impacts we see here. But this solution kind of has it fizzling out a bit, and which is probably more likely at this point, not a super strong signal. So going in here, I want to look at one more thing, two more models before I kind of wrap up here. And this is called the Schreff plume, so the short range ensemble forecast. And we can zoom in here to North Carolina and see what it thinks is going to happen. So I'm going to pick the triad here. And these are all the lines you see here. This is an ensemble forecast. So you have all of these members. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 24, 27 or so, or 26 members and one mean. So the mean is the bold line in the middle here. And we can look here, and these are temperatures. So you can see there's a lot more agreement closer here, and then it gets a little more fuzzy as you go farther out. That's that uncertainty showing up again. But we can look at total snow here, and this is not the best forecast practice, but this is a quick, it's not super smart to look at just snowfall totals, and it's more important to look at what's kind of going to be in place. But just for a quick analysis here, the mean is showing about 1.81 inches being the maximum that shows up here in Greensboro. That would be 1.8 inches of snow, and some have it much higher, some have absolutely nothing, some have a little bit higher than that. If we jump over to RDU here, it's a little bit lower. One model is going absolutely bonkers up here. That's absolute nonsense. And then others, have it steadily rising to maybe about 1.5 inches. So overall, not really impressive totals, but anything that does fall would, again, stick because of those cold surface temperatures. So these are the Schreff plumes, Schreff meaning SREF, short range ensemble forecast. Some people say that a Schreff plume, and not a really impressive signal for that as well. Looking one more time at the winter weather, for the winter weather page for Raleigh, they don't even have anything updated on their map yet because it's not that impressive of an event. And if I go over, this is the high end amount, so this is kind of the 90th percentile. This is a 1 in 10 chance of seeing this, and this has maybe an inch around Winston-Salem, maybe up here in Mount Airy over here, and then in Stokes County and Surry County over here, Stokes and Rockingham County, Caswell, and then Person County up here, maybe up to 1 inch, but overall not really an impressive event, but certainly something to watch. That trend could change over the coming days, but it looks like it's just going to be that cold air chasing the precipitation, and the cold air chasing that moisture, and it's just not going to pan out to get the optimum kind of ingredients you need for an accumulating snow here in North Carolina. So overall, and I'll also leave with this image, this is the European model ensemble members again, and this is kind of each of these members. There are 51 members here, I think, if I'm counting correctly, and each one of them are showing at least a little bit of snow, and then the ensemble means about maybe 1 inch or something like that. So, or a little bit lower actually. I briefly looked at this photo, not exactly sure, something like that. But the bottom line here is that the ensemble is pretty low, and that it's still showing there's a chance of something, but overall not really an impressive event. So overall, we have to look out at what the models want to do, and we have to keep that in mind. The caveat of the speed of the cold air and how everything lines up is going to be crucial in determining who gets what, and if anyone gets anything other than a light rain event on Wednesday morning. But so stay tuned for future videos, and I will continue to post some forecast details on Facebook and on Twitter. If you have any questions, message me on Facebook, shoot me a tweet on Twitter, or send me an email even, message me on YouTube. I'm very easy to get in contact with, so if you have any questions about that, and I will look forward to putting together another video tomorrow with some updated information and telling you the latest on what we can expect from this storm. And in the meantime, stay warm, stay safe, and look out for another forecast video tomorrow. Thanks.